Okay, so here we are with the 1000 rating. This was one that was shared with me by Killerjays, who's right here, the Cobalt Ice player. Um, I don't, at least I think so. I don't know. It was in my, I don't know, to do replay file thing, so I guess that's how it got there, I'm sure. So yeah, yeah, again, guys, if you have games you want reviewed, yeah, hit me up and I can work them into videos. Preferences are even-ish games, so it's not like you whooping up on someone 200 points lower. Um, and then, yeah, I don't know, interesting stuff, or like maybe you have a loss you're trying to figure out, you know, situations like that. I think that would be cool. Okay, so we have the map Unfathomed Force here. Kind of a weird map. Two airports. One airport is like kind of far forward. Um, I mean, two airports per side, you know. I guess they're both kind of far forward. They can do things like run into the mountain area. The airports are not too far away from each other, so it's like one turn and then you're threatening the other airport with Bopter Bopter. Um, Two little properties in the center, and then all this like complex, weird looking terrain on the sides that allow you to like arty up or maybe like, do cool stuff with beacopters. I've seen some cool games here, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things go. So let's talk about the players for a sec. We have Killerjays, and the formatting's about to look like shit, but who cares? Okay, so Killerjays is currently has a 1030 rating. He's got like 60 games played or 70 games played on in league and 87 total. He's been a part of the Advanced Source by Web Discord community for a while, and definitely like contributes a lot to discussion and all that stuff. And then here we have 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, who has a monstrous 210 and 187 right, like win loss record. He's 1100, 587 games played total. So this is interesting. I actually don't know this player. Um, hey, I beat them. I beat them. Yes, I beat them. I beat them in 2017. Take that. Sorry. As I was saying, okay, so yeah, that player's been around for a while. So damn. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. 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 Um. All right. Map player. Okay. Picks. Okay. Jess. Two base Jess. All right. I see the idea. Unfortunately, it's also two airport, so that's a little bit sketchy. And then I think the other thing that I like to think about when it comes to Jess stuff is like, are the first engagements infantry versus infantry, or are they vehicle versus vehicle? And if it's vehicle versus vehicle, then Jess is having a great time in tier 4. And if it's infantry versus infantry, she's not having such a great time. Okay, now we have Grim, my favorite. So, okay, first of all, Grim is like a ballsy pick here because Adder and Cole are both excellent here, in my opinion. And it seems that people at the very top level seem to pick towards Adder and Cole here from what I've seen. Although I haven't seen that much, so whatever. Um, Grim, uh, I guess he kind of likes lighter terrain. Um, Theoretically, the idea is that he does more damage. He like out damages his opponent from day-to-day bonuses. And then the other thing is that um, he gets more one-hit KOs during his CO power and super CO power. So like that's kind of the main thing that I've been thinking about with Grim. Like I played him a lot, but either I've decided I'm playing him before I see the map, or I know the map and I'm just not playing him. So I'm not very good at figuring out when he's supposed to be picked. I just, pick him and pray, or I just don't. Okay, so that's Grim. Spicy versus Jess. I think it's it's probably better than versus the other tier fours by a small amount because his infantry can truly dominate, but that's just a guess. I'm not too familiar with some of these lesser picked tier four matchups. Okay, and this is actually with the goofy. It's not going to be play by play, so that's just how it's going to be. And again, so these are like, 1,000 rated players or something. So this is okay. So I can slow down just a little bit more than that. First movements look pretty reasonable. So immediate tank from Jess makes total sense. Tank response from Grim. And then can't afford a tank. Jess could have gone artillery here. Artillery on the left-hand side, on the top left, is a pretty interesting idea. Yeah, something to consider, but you don't have to do it. Although I guess going infantry gives just 14k next turn, which allows for tank. So that's you can either do artillery and then next turn, one tank, or you could do vehicle skip and then next turn do two tanks. Those are the main considerations I'm thinking about. Although Grim could be copter. Never mind. I'm overthinking it. Okay. So pretty reasonable move so far. The comm tower cap seems slightly early, but not that big a deal. Actually, it's just on time. It's a turn early, but no point in overthinking it. Reasonable things here. So actually, instead of double tank here, Killerjays decides to go for B-copter. I guess it does stop that capture. So that's maybe the reason that Killerjays went for it, as opposed to double tank. Yeah, that's reasonable. I think that it would be a bit of a yeah, I mean, because otherwise what it does is Grim can capture here, finish capture, possible hit if Jess wants to get frisky. If not, then infantry goes back and captures the city, or this infantry comes up early and captures it. So yeah, either way is good. Into the B-copter, Grim decides to build two infantry and nothing more, setting up for 1600 the next turn. So 1600 gives you not enough for B-copter tank without a base skip. Okay, so a bit of a aggressive push here. Looks like push double cap. Is that what I'm seeing? Yeah, so the tank kind of dives in here. It's a losing exchange for the tank, but it kind of gives you some how do I put this? It puts Amber Blaze on their back just a little bit, on their back foot just a little bit, so that you can hopefully snag one or two of these middle cities. Unfortunately, I don't think it works because tank interrupt, infantry interrupt, infantry interrupt, and these are Grim infantry into Jess infantry, so like there's no reason you're not gonna take this. So actually, Grim decides to go for something even grimier, which is kill this tank via infantry death, which is pretty funny. It allows both captures in the center, which is a little suspect. But it is very funny. So it's in character, so it's always good. Okay, so This kind of capture here allows interrupt from the mountains. Let's see, B-Copter can also interrupt for free. And the nice thing about putting the B-Copter on this mountain is it covers the airport build here. I don't think Grim wants to get first struck in Bopter fights, even if he's on an airport. Okay, so he actually ends up going one out of range. Seems fine. I mean, I guess I didn't do the calc, but if it happens that Jess loses the Bopter initiation fight, then this square is maybe a little bit more, well, no, this square is still more active. Okay, so here's a initiation onto the infantry in the center. Fair amount of damage done. I mean, there's 2 B-Copters versus 1, and 1 sort of up behind reinforcing. Yeah, so this guy gets to kind of get a hit for free because this guy has to choose between the 2. Looks like this is going to be cleaned up pretty well. Yeah, definitely very well. And so I don't really see, I mean, no, there's like really not much else for Jess to do to like continue the fight. I think Jess's main consideration here is that she kind of needs to build up a few more tanks. I think I really like the double tank build here. Although you're kind of in a spot where it's 1 copter versus 2 Grim copters and an injured one. So you kind of have to copter build, I think, or anti-air is fine too, which limits your ability to make more tanks. Because, you know, it's just tanks that really do her hard work because those are the ones that get the firepower boost and the movement boost. So Jess goes for anti-air. The anti-air allows these 2 tanks to move as far forward as they can, which is kind of nice. But it's a bit dangerous because Grim is sitting on CO power. So he has a lot of different... He can kind of threaten you a lot of different ways right now. Okay, so here's the move. Blocking with copter, double capping, double flipping. Kind of consolidating everything in the center and allowing this to go to Cobalt Ice. Okay, some rearranging down here. B-Copter. I think it's actually pretty nice for Grim that he's been able to, with these 2 copters, like force out 2 turns of no tank builds. When Jess is like really trying to build more tanks. Oh, and Jess actually dove with this tank. Okay, yeah, I don't agree with that because then your tank just dies for free. You do 6 tank damage, and in return you lose a full HP tank. That's not really what you want. And the other thing is like it kind of gives you less juice when you use your powers. You know, like you don't have as many tanks to run around and do stuff. Okay, a bit of maneuvering here. Kind of can't really go to the center because there's so much stuff there. Okay, Grim does a huge sweep up left with both captures going through, which is pretty huge. But yeah, I think the next plan is you capture the city, right? That's the reason for the sweep. Okay, actually a little bit more passive than that, not going for this capture. Weird, that is an interesting turn. I would expect the 2 HP Bopter to hit here, the 9 HP... Okay, it dies, that's why. Yeah, huh. Okay. So, but no capture here, which is kind of interesting. I would expect maybe it's so that you conserve the 10 HP infantry in range so that it doesn't get interrupted and you can capture the city just a little bit faster. So yeah, Killerjays has to respond. Free shot down here, which is nice. Okay, there's the capture. It's interruptible, but you need to commit a tank or a vehicle. You need to commit a vehicle in order to interrupt this capture. And Grim is like waiting to snipe your vehicle, so it's a little bit scary. And then Killerjays decides not to give up the vehicle. Okay, and then sort of big scary force. This is getting to the point of the game where like Grim starts to really feel not so good anymore. When you're staring down like super CO power to super CO power versus a movement booster. Grim has done a lot of things to mitigate that issue, that bad feeling that you get in that situation by again like limiting the number of tanks on the board. I think recon is actually something to consider for Jess as well because it gets a lot of OCOs, I would think, versus Grim. I don't know the calcs exactly. Okay, so now like it's yeah, I guess all of this time Amber Blaze has been up a few units. Right now he's up about 5 units on average. Okay, some posturing and holy moly, what happened here? Okay, so Killerjays kind of smells that there's something he can do about this. And that happens. I'm trying to okay, so he kills 2 anti-air, 2 tanks, and about 4 infantry. And then it looks like the B-copters are kind of in the center of his army. There's these 3 B-copters here that all have counter shot, that'll all have the ability to counter hit. Oh, and actually a 4th one as well. So it looks like this B-copter is going to be pretty safe unless Grim does something crazy like sack this B-copter into the anti-air in order to kill it with the tank and kill the B-copter. That would be pretty crazy. Okay, so no B-copter sack, but basically cleans up all the tanks and 1 B-copter and kill one of the anti-air. And it looks like this infantry can die, and then this will have anti-air on B-copter. Okay, or a different situation. B-copter tank clears, and then anti-air dives. The good thing about having... Oh, I see, that's at 3 HP. So both anti-air are going to die. This B-copter is going to die. This tank's going to probably die. I would say probably Grim just kills everything up north and then just leaves the south. Maybe you get a little interrupt on there. So actually further forward in the top middle than I expected. Oops. So nasty medium tank on medium tank shot. But I think that Amber Blaze is smart enough to have anticipated that. So what's the counter hit? Is it CO power B-copters? Yeah, exactly that. So the B-copters come in with CO power and do tremendous damage. Actually, that is a really nice thing about Grim is he kind of has like Sensei B-copters in the sense that you can just throw them at heavy tanks and they do way more damage than most people expect. So yeah, that's pretty tremendous. The only thing with Fangs in the center here is this tank and this anti-air. So probably just sack off the anti-air while retreating. Maybe trade tanks, maybe not. And then kind of regroup. Down in income by 1k. Although looking like they're gonna get Killerjays is gonna get one property back. And a second property too, so that's pretty it's a nice pickup. So now up in income by a little bit. Wait, hold on, what happened here? Oh, there was another anti-air in range. Okay. Otherwise, I was gonna say it looks pretty AB favored. And then here it looks like Grim has some tricky things he has to do. It looks pretty bad, honestly. He doesn't really have anything. You can trade off B copters and then spam tanks. Yeah, trade off B copters and then spam tanks. Or retreat the B copter. How did those tanks get there so fast? It's a small map, okay. Yeah, I mean, this is almost like overextending by Killerjays in the sense that he's getting closer and closer to these tanks. Like whenever you have the situation where a tank can, while it's reinforcing, on the way to the center, it can kill something. That's like, that's you can't. That's like unsustainable. You know, you're gonna like you have to either win it soon. You can't sit on that situation for too long, or else it can snowball the way you don't want it to. So yeah, all these tanks in the center. It looks like they clear tanks, only allow a tank shot, and then this B-copter here is to counter hit this B-copter. Anti-air here does pretty much nothing. And then yeah, I mean the main thing when I evaluate this situation is it's just like 3.5 tanks versus 0 tanks. And sure, there's like 2 anti-air here, and sure, there's a B-copter here, but the B-copter is accounted for with this B-copter, and these 2 anti-air only have 2 targets. In fact, I probably would have rather seen tank almost, but the B-copter has the benefit of like shooing away this infantry, because otherwise things could get rowdy up here and then you lose a comm tower, which is horrible. It's a bit of attack here, but yeah, the lack of... Oh, I guess the B-copter was responding to that B-copter, so it had even more reason for it to exist. So now you have like B-copter and B-copter, tank trade, up on tanks, and you just have to be careful of Super CO power. And Grim is, I think, in good shape. Okay, here's power. And there goes a little bit of that tank superiority. Because now it's 3 tanks in the center versus 2. So this is the power, clear the infantry, kill the anti-air, and then big shot onto that tank with more B-copters spamming in. Pretty good, pretty good. Kind of even-ish. Okay, this is a weird turn to figure out as Grim, because now this anti-air is awkward and you don't have a full HP tank for it. Next action, what? He doesn't resign here, does he? He only has 9 units? Huh? What's the log say? Nothing. Tell me more. What happened next? Okay. Sorry, I think I just messed up the formatting. Okay, we're good. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at that. This right here. Yeah, so it doesn't say anything happened that day. So I guess that means that Killerjays resigned. Interesting. Okay. Well, let me just play out how I see the turn going. So let me just make sure that shows up okay. It's good enough. We can do that. It's horrible. How about that? Good. Okay. So I'm thinking like, yeah. I don't know. It's probably something like this-ish. Yeah, that looks like how does Grim do anything? So I wonder if Killerjay won this because unless I have like the player wrong. Okay, hold on. We need to do some research here. Who won this game? Okay, sorry, the view's gonna be horrible for a second here. Okay, see all completed games. Standard. Um Yeah, Killerjays won. Okay, Killerjays won. End of discussion. All right, because yeah, that's the this right here. Oh, did I? Oh, here it is. Here we go. Here? No, wait, hold on. Here. Yeah, this is the move. This is the game-winning move. Maybe you don't kill this guy. Maybe this guy goes somewhere else. And then that way you have no infantry on infantry shots. Because yeah, this looks ultra over. Ultra over. Okay, so yeah, GG Killerjay. Nice win, but it was over Grim, so it doesn't really count. That's what I tell all my opponents that beat me as Grim. I mean when I'm Grim. Okay. So yeah, GG. I think yeah, I think the main thing is just like when the brawling started, uh things looked good for a while for Grimmy, but let me refresh. But I think right around things looked great right here. At this moment, things look awesome. But I don't know, probably just one turn earlier. Yeah, I like this here. I think the issue is like he just allowed his tank advantage to go away. And building this B-copter was, I guess it was necessary, but it was also a little bit risky. No, it was necessary. This guy can't cover both of them. Yeah, I don't think you need to hit the. I guess you kind of do need to hit the artillery. Yeah, it's a tricky spot. It looked a little better than I thought it was at first glance, but yeah, I think it's just a hard game. I didn't really see any specific Grim stuff that came up. I think the thing that I liked the most was keeping Jess away from doing tank spam by going moderately heavy into B-copters. Like Grim B-copters have a pretty good amount of value, so yeah, I think 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5 did a lot of stuff pretty well. Especially like Grim specific stuff. Um, but the fact of the matter is that like Jess is just a better CO most of the time. Okay. All right, so that's all I have to say about the what was this? I think this is the 1000 match. Okay, see you guys next time for the 1100 match.